quite hitting the heights from how he ended up last season, but he has had a win over in the States, won the shootout at the last Ultimate Pool USA event.
Yeah, in Kansas. Yeah, he's played really well in that. I did watch that. Stayed up late, well past my bedtime. Chris Day's been playing very well this season. He's knocking on the door. He's been very close.
Yeah, he's one of those players that sometimes slightly slips under the radar, but he's had 3 quarterfinals and a semi-final already. That semi-final was the last event, Pro Series 6 in Blackpool a couple of months ago. As a result of that, provisionally up to number 25 in the rankings. 10 place improvement on where he was last year, and still trending in the right direction. Chris Day, of course, also reached the World Championship final a couple of years back, so he's been making a name for himself on the big stage. Jordan's generally more about your quick-fire shootout than your longer-form group match, but at the same time, and particularly if he's been playing a bit of American pool as well, not the worst thing just to have a few matches to get himself back into this. So pretty much the start we're expecting, getting through these balls in no time at all.
And it's Shepherd who flies the last couple of balls in. And he does not move when he gets in full flow.
Yeah, it's quite something to watch, isn't he?
Yeah, he doesn't hang about, the old Welsh wizard, bless him.
Well, cue ball still on the table, but not in the most convenient of spots. This is the last match of the afternoon session. We'll be back at 6 o'clock with continued action. So forced to take on the tricky long ball, and he's cued that really well.
Yeah, great pot there from Chris Day.
Literally the furthest apart the balls can be, diagonally across the table. Real confidence builder when you knock in a ball like that. It's his first shot of the match. Could not have been in a more difficult position. Not completely done yet though. He's link up a bit better than the first one, but still a bit of work to do.
So solid, Chris Day.
Yeah, that's kind of his trademark, isn't it? It's just always there or thereabouts. Understands the game very well. Straight enough that he was able to hold nicely for the ball to the bottom left. So bottom left, top right is pattern. This is a match that both players are going to win as a matter of pride. This is obviously the game that's being televised, plus these are the two best players on paper in the group. It's we were just saying a moment ago, this looks like it may well be the easiest group to get through if there is no 6th player. I think these two would already have been a pretty warm favourite to get through any group anyway, but just takes a bit of the jeopardy out of it. It's always a difficult challenge when you're organising a tournament. Late pullouts are an inevitable feature of any tournament. In straight knockouts it maybe matters a bit less because it's just a buy in one round and then it's done. But obviously it has a bit more of a knock-on impact the way this tournament's structured. Big break as ever from Jordan. Generally the yellows have come out pretty well, but there's just the one over the left-hand side that's a bit obstructed.
Well, it will go into the centre, and it obviously goes into the top left-hand corner as well, so it's just how Jordan feels when he gets down to that bottom of the table. He already will have a plan for it in his mind. Jordan, one of the many players you'd normally use your extension right at the start of the frame to map out your finish and then play. That's what a lot of the pros do. He seems to have just potted the first yellow and then he'll think about the rest of it later. So, and there you see he's using his extension out because this is the important bit now where he decides his pattern.
This is Jordan's first match of the tournament. He did have a match scheduled, but because of that last minute pull out and only 5 players in this group, just went through a 6-0 winner by default in that one. Chris Day did have to play 6-2 against Niall Clancy. It was his first match.
He's just made this a lot more tricky there, as Jordan. Now he's going to have to play this into the middle off the yellow that's near there. But then it's again he's going to be on nothing. I think maybe played a cross double actually. Looking at it again, played a cross double back into the centre, bring the cue ball down the table. Could he play the double into the middle? And it would have to be a fairly firm hit.
Well, we could play the yellow that is nearest long, I suppose. It's not an attractive option either way, though, is it?
He went for the double and he's miscued it. Just nervously looking at his tip to see if he's taken a chunk out of it.
Yeah, that's what you always worry about when you miscue. That wasn't a particularly powerful miscue, though. I don't think you should have done too much damage.
You only want a tiny bit to come out of that tip, and then all of a sudden an important shot later when you're playing beside it, somebody throws something else onto it and you've cost you a match.
Whoever wins this match will be guaranteed to have qualified, so we'll have 3 matches to come that will be dead rubbers from a qualification perspective, although may still impact the ranking, of course, the league table. In the event that he had done any damage to his cue, at least that would mean he did have time to sort it out. What he has done damage to is his position in this frame, because he's gone from having a good chance to being a strong second favourite. See Chris happy just to bide his time, just tidy the table up a bit, keep playing these containing shots. Much he can do here. I mean, he hasn't hit that, but even if he did, it's not going to leave things great. So the only difficult raid really is the one on the right hand side rail near the yellow. Could use ball in hand to go straight after that. Goes after the other semi-difficult one.
Well, it's just a case of knocking in these 2 reds at the table. Deal with the 4 down at the bottom. There's not much to do with the cue ball, like you say. It's just getting on the red just beneath that yellow. He just wants to leave himself a little cut. He's going to play it next. In an ideal world, if he can get onto the red that's just next to the black ball as well from this ball, and then the 2 last reds over the bag, simple stuff then. It looks pretty good.
Can just play a delicate cannon onto the
just knock it another inch further nearer the rail. You haven't. I'm quite surprised. I would have thought he'd have played the red that's next to the black. I mean, it makes no difference.
Well, yeah, it makes no difference until you slip out of
position.
position.
Until he falls short here.
Well, that's fine. This is turned into an academic discussion, as it was always likely to. It's just a case of playing the percentages.
It just made it harder for me. You know, you give yourself a chance to miss it, where I don't think you had any chance missing the other way.
So Jordan's mistake there has proved costly. 2-1 to Chris Day. Jordan's going out of the arena holding his cue. I think he's just maybe on the look for a piece of sandpaper, just got a little rough edge where he had that miscue. Wow. Obviously, in that extra time, he had to psych himself up for the break. He psyched himself up a bit too much and really given that the treatment. The cue ball going airborne, immediately leaving the table.
And it's halfway down the M6.
So that means cue ball in hand anywhere on the table, which is why Jordan's able to come down this end and look to position behind the one yellow he's got this end. Sometimes it's a big penalty, sometimes it's not. It kind of depends whether you can do anything useful with that extra freedom of the ball in hand. This time it looks like it might actually be quite helpful. Jordan, one of the quickest players at the best of times. Here, I think in this format, he's probably thinking that these group stage matches aren't going to be super consequential for him, so able to play with even more freedom than usual. He's played that pretty well. Ideally wanted to get on the ball on the right hand side early on, because then he leaves himself more positional options.
I think you've got to take it now at the top. That's it's frame ball.
It's quite a nice spot as well. It's just falling off the cushion to be a reasonably comfortable pot. It looks like he can just drop this in. He's got a little bit of angle. The ball that he's potting over the pocket, don't know if he can just hold dead straight. He's had to go up and play for the corner instead.
Yeah, it would have slid too far to the right of the ball. He's played that well because he got the cue ball past the red, so it wasn't hampered. And now this black into the middle. It's for 2-2.
And that break seems to have helped Jordan. He's been out and fixed his cue. Chris Day, ball off the table. That's what led to that clearance.
Well, that's a fairly clattered break, and he's got no balls at all.
Look at where he's left these balls as well. The balls are sort of split. Red's at the top, yellow's in the middle.
That hurts him at the World Championships, coming dry so many times, Jordan. He was flying in that tournament, and he was really zoned in, and you look like, potentially he's going to win the world title. He was right in amongst it, and then he couldn't get a ball. Just could not get a ball off the break.
He's getting a big break at times. It's probably not as consistent as some of the other really top players. Lovely layout for Chris. Jordan had done all the hard work for him, splitting the balls up. Just a couple of rolls short of ideal position there. Just wanted the cue ball to track back towards the middle of the pocket, leave a choice of 3 reds. Now going to have to take the one over the corner, which was a kind of saver ball that ideally he'd have left for later. So now same kind of shot round the two rails. And this is what happens. Sometimes you just slip slightly out of position. It starts adding up on you. Should still be okay, but may have to play a cannon as he pots this ball. Slightly hampered as well, queuing over.
Very well executed there by Chris Day. Awkward queuing. As you see, stayed very still.
Yeah, staying still is so important, those shots when queuing over a ball. So after that momentary blip, he's got himself back nicely in position. Looks like he means business.
But then if you qualify in fourth spot, you will play somebody who's won their group, which then you look down the list and think, that doesn't look very pleasant, whoever it is.
Oh, got a lot of zip on the cue ball there. Got a bit more backspin than he wanted. He saw the cue ball accelerating as it came away from the pack.
Dry break now for Chris, following Jordan's.
His saving grace from Chris's point of view is he's got Jordan tucked up in this corner in a...
Yeah, he didn't have the same leave, did he, as Jordan put Jordan left Chris. That's for sure. Certainly nowhere near as generous. Taking on a yellow length for the table down as this bottom left-hand corner. Oof, how well did he play that? And he's got the angle now on the other yellow to cut into the middle, and you can see where he wants to go. To cut this back into the right-hand centre, cue ball into that top rail and try and lodge or dislodge the red and yellow that are stuck together at the top. Well, he got too much topspin on. Did he play that a little hard for you? Do you think by putting all that power into that, he's moved the cue ball too far forwards and he's left them stuck together now?
Yeah, it's often underestimated just how much difference the speed you play the shot, whether the spin takes effect and whether it takes effect quickly enough.
Well, he's hit it hard with a lot of topspin, so as the cue ball makes contact, just after contact, it will then push forward a bit further. Especially when he's tried another attempt to knock it out, and well, he's got the red out of the way, but the yellow's still in a pretty rubbish position, really. So, still lots of work to do for Jordan Shepherd. Well, he's having a look off the rail into the red. Will it push through?
Looks a big arse to pot this yellow.
Yeah.
From his point of view, if you can at least get it near the cushion, near the pocket, that improves the position. That was about as good as he could do, although he's going to be annoyed that he's left the gap on the other side now, because Chris can now return the favour.
Well, Chris will want to play this red and just clip into the yellow as it goes into the pocket and bump it out of the way the other two reds. He's just seeing how far the yellow is away from the knuckle of the pocket. So we want the yellow to come quite narrow. Like that. That's, well, he's going to cover the bottom corner. He is. Oh, I think he can just get past there, you know. Tight. But he wanted the yellow to come narrow out of the way of the two reds rather than bump into them, and he's just...
Yeah, it's pretty unlucky, because
yeah, he won't legislate for that. No.
May still be able to squeeze it past.
I think it does. I think it goes. Ideally, what he'd probably want to do, because he'll want to roll that in, he'll want to leave himself a little angle on that last, maybe play that last and roll it in and cue ball off the bottom rail and onto the black.
The pattern of very tight matches continues. Well, the first one, every one of the matches could have gone either way. The next 5 that we've seen.
Well, that's one way.
Yeah.
How'd you like that for a shot?
That's turned out all right, hasn't it? It wasn't an easy shot from there to get that contact on the yellow. And he's just come far enough that he's got a comfortable shot on the red.
What's he done with the cue ball?
Well, I was going to say, the natural angle didn't look ideal. I thought he might have to play that slowly and try and hold short. Decided to try and play positive below the middle pocket, and he's actually been pretty lucky with the way that's stayed on the table. Gonna have to pull out another shot now, though. Is he digging down just to get hold of this? Just drag the cue ball over to the left-hand side cushion and back out again.
Oh, he's played that really well. Cracking shot there from Chris Day. And this for a 4-2 lead from the man from Suffolk.
Good clearance in the end. Made to look quite difficult. He had a bit of work to do, but always seemed to have the answer to it. Wow. Decent break, but cue ball was always heading for that corner pocket.
He's having a bit of a rough time with his break of late, is Jordan.
Got to say, that was user error. That ball wasn't kicked in.
Yeah, it sort of had a bit of spin on it as it came up the table. It sort of spun when it was in the middle of the table and headed towards that corner. And Chris Day's got a pretty open spread of balls. For me, it's reds. That's my choice. So he'll take yellows, obviously. You're wrong, Chris.
It's basically quite a good break. You'd be happy enough to take either.
No, he knows what he's doing. Who am I to second guess? And I was looking at that red at the bottom. I'm presuming it passed that yellow into that bottom right hand corner where the near the black is. Maybe it doesn't go, and that's probably why he's taking the yellows.
The difficult yellow is the right hand of the two that are together at the bottom left quadrant of the table. Not difficult, but it doesn't have its natural pockets available for it. Red's just slightly in the way because you can't just pot the left hand one of these and play direct position. He's going to have to drop behind it for the middle or try and brush the red out the way. Did he try and move the red there?
I think he tried to play off the red very thin and he didn't make any contact. So he's going to have to go into the middle bag, is he? Off the red, and he's not got that one either. Told you should have took reds.
He's going to be annoyed with that. That was a great chance to go 5-2 up. Just look what he's left Jordan as a result.
Yeah, immediately onto the awkward ball. So obviously didn't pass that yellow into the corner.
Now that ball's gone. Should be plain sailing in all of about 30 seconds from here. This is the kind of chance you need when you're a couple of frames behind. Just gift wrap one just to get yourself back into it.
Well, I never. I did think he'd overrun that cue ball then, and Just wondering if he'd have taken the one in the middle of 2 shots earlier.
Surprising miss. I mean, when you look at where those 5 reds were a few shots ago, you couldn't imagine any way of not getting out from there.
No. Can he cut it back? He's trying to play off that red and leave the cue ball behind the one on the bottom rail. Well, that's a great shot. But is a bit stuck out past the black.
Well, you have to say that's a good containing shot from where he was. That could have been a real problem.
And you see that Christian plays very, very slowly now down the table. Doesn't want the cue ball to go off the yellow and into the corner. Fantastic shot. Really, really good shot from Chris Day. Horrible shot to play that, to try and judge the weight.
Yeah, they've both played some good shots in this match. 2 very experienced players, making that experience count out there at the moment. Again, good effort there. Not a million
Yeah, he
miles
tried
away
to
from
come off the
making
rail, cut it up in the corner. So Chris Day now, yellow into the left-hand centre. Just got to drop it in and the frame will be his and he'll be on the hill against the Welsh Wizard. And that will do him. A little bit of side just off the round, spin up behind it, or did he screw behind it?
I just had enough angle to screw behind. So, Chris Day, at the second time of asking, does get the frame he needs to go onto the hill. 5-2 now against Jordan Shepherd. Doesn't want a repeat of his last one where he ended up with the cue ball on the floor.
No. Stands very upright as he breaks, is Chris. That's a really good break, but where's the cue ball? It's gone.
It looked like he was just going to pull up in time. Just carried on running. Bit unlucky the way it ended up there, but
yeah,
he was tracking towards the pocket.
This could be a quick frame.
This is exactly what Jordan needed. Had to hope for something from Chris's break. Needs to take advantage and then capitalise off his own break. Make a fight of this match.
In between the devil and the deep blue sea there.
Oh, that's a good shot. If this yellow passes bottom right, that's turned out really well.
Well, had to play the double in the end.
So, first chance for Chris Day to get this group wrapped up, which is possibly not something he was expecting to be able to be in a position to do by 4:25 on the first day of play. We've seen that pocket be quite generous. A couple have brushed the cushion on the way there, but that was well wide. Surely now the frame away to Jordan.
Shake of the head there from Shepherd. Came up a bit short, got the thin cut now.
Well, that was a frame that Chris could well have won. That would have got him over the winning line. Jordan kind of falls over the line. Cue ball going towards the same corner pocket that cost him last time.
And another very good split as well.
When you see Jordan in full flight, you wonder how he ever loses a match. Right now, it would seem that the consistency on the break is one of the chinks in the armour. Obviously, you can't read much into a couple of breaks in this match, but as you say, it was perhaps a factor at the World Championships. Had a decent chance in the last frame. Chris really can't ask for a much better one than this. Ball below the 8 ball. It's pretty tight bottom left, but plenty of space for it bottom right. Needs to play the ball that he's about to play to the bottom right first, obviously, to clear that pocket out. Didn't want to be hampered. It's not the end of the world for the pot, that's easy enough, but it just slightly limits him where he's going after this. From this angle, you'd think this was a fairly straightforward drop into the centre, but it's actually a reasonably acute angle if he plays that ball to the right middle.
Yeah, I think he's going to leave himself, might be leaving himself a little too thin. He's having to play a little screw shot here. Makes this pot a heck of, well, heck more harder, and he played it very well indeed.
Yeah, he made it look very easy, didn't
he? It's easy to miss those if you play them with pace and catch the jaw. But this time, no mistake from Chris Day. This black for victory.
This has been a solid professional performance from Chris Day. This could have been a difficult match, not necessarily one that was consequential in terms of the outcome of the group. Chris Day will be delighted to have got this group qualification wrapped up already. He goes 2 from 2 in the group and moves to the top of the table. Jordan 1 from 2. He'll have plenty of time to come back into it.